came across this cut holly and thought it would be perfect for a nature mobile. I grabbed a few long branches of holly and used my secateurs to cut off all of the excess stems and leaves. This left me with long, thin, smooth branches. I bend the first piece of holly to create the frame for my nature mobile. I make a circular shape and add in extra pieces to help make the shape more secure. I'm not being too particular about making sure that they're perfectly weaved in, just as long as the shape is somewhat there. I cut a piece of string and wrap it around my nature mobile to make sure that the last little bits are all secure. I use my secateurs to cut off all the excess bits, cutting on an angle to keep the circular shape. After I created my mobile frame, I went on a nature walk to find pieces of nature on the forest floor to create the dangling pieces of my mobile. The first thing I needed to do to put my nature mobile all together was measure out the length of string I would need. I need to consider both the length of the pieces dangling down and the length above the mobile frame to hang it up. Once I decided on my length, I cut 4 pieces the same length. I started off with my piece of birch bark, making a little hole in it so I could poke the string through to tie it onto the frame of the nature mobile. Next, I found the stick with some lichen on it, and I tied a knot to create the second piece of my mobile. I thought these pine cones would add a fun texture, so I cut them into the size that I wanted and tied them to the string. Finally, I tied the string to a piece of cedar I'd found cut on a path as I was walking. Now it's time to string them all onto the frame. So I created the length that I wanted for the first piece. I used the stick because the stick was quite long, and so I thought it'd be good to measure out the length, and I just tied a knot that I'm comfortable with to allow it to stay onto the frame. Make sure that you're spacing out the pieces evenly. When I put on the second piece, I realized that I didn't actually make sure that it was at the angle that I wanted, so I did have to do some shimmying around, so try not to make that mistake. Make sure that you're holding it up as you go to ensure that they're all the lengths that you want them to be. You can make the lengths a bit different depending on how you kind of want it to look. Once you have all your pieces strung up onto the frame, then you're going to want to collect all the 4 strings and tie a knot above the frame, and then tie another knot to create a little loop if you want to hook it on to something. And then you have your nature mobile. Have fun creating!